Dagan would start off. I think we should just keep with our story that we came here with. Work vacation, I suppose. And, a bit of the truth mixed in. This always helps. One of us is taking a fancy to some of the local stories. And so I guess after we have our meetings today, maybe we'll find out about this crypt, I believe. I am concerned that if this isn't just some, weird tourist trap thing, like if we find what we're actually looking for, that people, it may be a trap, uh, and people would have somehow known while we're here, what we're doing here. So we should just keep our eyes open.
How touristy is this area? Like, really?
I don't think that we should dismiss the idea, Armoros, that we are very recognizable. And people probably know us. I mean, probably they know my name.
They shouldn't know us.
I know it's a faraway place, but we're famous. It's you on the shoulder.
Everything was weird. I know, like, some of the tricks. You're trying to do a confidence scam on someone, and you can make things really generic and seem like it's gonna, fit your situation, when it'll fit everyone's situation. But that was a very strange day, or yesterday. I don't know. I guess we can go to where they were pointing us to, but just know what we may be walking into.
Gosh, everybody is so quiet.
We haven't had breakfast yet.
Thought it was still the same day.
I thought we had our rooms and went to sleep. I don't know. And you're talking about getting out of bed and your tech stuff.
Yeah, I know. I thought we had gone to bed too.
I was just in my head we had settled in, went to sleep. That's the next day.
The scholar and the tailor coming in the evening.
No, we literally got there early, and then we're kind of mid-morning. So when we got there,
yeah, it was about midday when you arrived. When you arrived at Dustport entirely, you had met the Ainarian warships, and then there was another day and a half or so of travel after that. And so it was about midday, but yet in this place, all the time feels like dusk. It's part of why it has its name.
Let's just think about what we want to learn here once we randomly talk to people. I know I'm personally curious about how they feel about the war that's potentially coming to their doorsteps.
I would be shocked to learn that most even some majority of them would know of it. Ainar's not known to having a navy.
Yeah, I'll get a world map.
It's still pretty far from Einar.
Well, they've done a land war already. I'm not sure Dread, did they make it to Moor yet? Or was it up to that? From what you've told us in the past.
They had, yes, they had made it to Moor, but we don't know about what's gone on with Moor. Moor is mostly an orcish kingdom, and they, like, we know that they had invaded, and we can't, like, there didn't seem to be any, at least, considerations that Moore was going to stand a chance to stop them, or even if they might join them, or who knows what, right? Like, and how that even the Ainarian High Elves would take to orcs and might be bloodier than some of the others that they have already done. Most the other countries, like it turns out that Davin, which was mostly human kind of communities, it is mixed, but very, very human, just kind of, they got absorbed. It's like as though they had been working with them all along, in some underhanded ways. And so the regular folk were like, "Oh, I guess this is happening now. We're just part of this now. Just whatever." And they just kind of kept on with their day to day. But then the Calendesh, which is the giantish folk, that realm in herds, they were they just did, like they fought because that's kind of their culture too, but they didn't really initiate a war because they're all like this bunch of segmented little tribes, and so they fought at first, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess now we're part of them," and so they've just kind of drove over and taken things. And then to their east, the Irdra, where the halflings, they're kind of been the mediators, and so they've just been one of the few people that have ever treated with Einar, outside of the elves in Vineholm, and they had like not necessarily absorbed, as part of them, but they've always been neutral. So they just didn't fight. There was no fighting that took place there, but there's some kind of hand-holding or cooperation on that side as well. So like and we're talking about in the span of like a week, they have taken over most of this continent.
We don't know their motive, right?
Well, a little of Einar's motive, but not any of the other, like, why they chose to accept or do or be a part of. Like, that Einar's blames most of the rest of the world's leadership for all the horrible things that have happened in the last century, plus last little more than a century. And after the big demon and devil war that happened about 10 years ago, they've kind of they switched modes and went into full, kind of like World War II, like when Germany went into full production for a little while, and then once they were strong, and then they just poof, and then they just took over half of Europe within a short period of time. It's kind of similar things happening here.
Fucking Einar Nazis.
Yeah, but I mean, they're killing slaver ships. Like, they're not throwing people in camps yet.
Yeah,
They're
we
just
don't
the
actually know
misguided
how.
good guys.
Nazis.
We actually don't know anything about what the conditions look like of those that they have taken over, for those that they fought or otherwise. The only thing that we really know is that they have done it, and that they don't like Tenari. I mean, and then Demir, which is the pirate culture, even though they're more like they're not evil pirates, but they are definitely mercenary oriented, kind of money driven society, just like Tenari is an entirely money driven society. They did not seem to like either of them all too much.
I would think that Erden would maybe be sending troops, if they have a standing army, to the south, but as Val said, they probably didn't even know about the Navy necessarily, oh, this happened so quickly. So I'm just interested in their response, and so many of the I was gonna say, like the invisible voice that we all just heard said, um, some of the countries may have invited them in, may have let them. How can you spread that quickly otherwise? So I am curious about what the buzz is among the people concerning that.
So maybe we should take information to the aristocracy to tell them about the ship we saw. Use that intel as a way to maybe approach them with other questions.
Not a bad idea.
You do know that the scholar that is supposed to be coming by, at least assuming that what the innkeeper said is true. I mean, if it's not entire smoke and mirrors.
It's his cousin.
Yeah, is supposed to be a Vrylocan scholar, who is a part of the aristocracy and the Incunabula.
Well, looks like Weldon has opened up some opportunities for us with his meetings.
Me too.
Great work week started a whole day early. Nothing but meeting.
So these were scheduled for, I guess, the evening, and so we have a few hours before that. Is there anything we want to do?
We could start a tavern brawl.
As much as that sounds fun, I would like to have a bed to sleep in tonight and not get kicked out.
It doesn't have to be this tavern. I mean, a good tavern brawl is, been in a few myself.
Val's just going to inconspicuously hover around the common room and see what kind of gossip he can pick up on over here.
Yeah, the hotel itself, as you came in, was set up a lot more like a hotel / convention center that would be today. Less than the usual tavern, which is like the food and entertainment and where people just hang out is all the exact same. But there was like the entryways where the innkeeper himself was behind like the teller window, and then down the hallway y'all had heard that there was stuff coming from in back part of the building, and it's like a very large, almost like a banquet room, where multiple levels of society are all kind of gathering around in the afternoon for various reasons. Some are listening to the music that's being performed from the stage. Some are just engaging in idle conversations, and they've almost got like little meeting rooms sectioned off on different sides. So it's just like here's a table, and there's kind of like the walls and like a little entry room with but there's no door, but it's like everything with a room but without the door. And then there's several of those along the walls for people to meet in. And then there's even things like games of cards and other forms of entertainment that are taking place in different sections. So it's almost like medieval version of convention / Dave and Buster's is all kind of happening in the same kind of area here.
If we're all going down there, I'll point out the cards to Fancy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Are they
definitely.
gambling? Are they gambling or just ungaming? Fancy doesn't like to pass up a chance to pull out the fancy card.
Bits of both. Bits of both.
How much money do I have?
Not enough.
Less when we go back up.
Hush. 100 gold. Yeah, before our informants get here, Fancy wants to play cards. He's going to sit there and watch for a little bit and try to pick up on kind of what's going on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's do an investigation check just to kind of scope out the different parts of see what the nuances are of the different sections of the room that are all intriguing at the same time here.
It's for everybody who wants.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Well, is that interested in gambling?
Well, it's not just about the gambling. It's just what's going on in the room. So if there's something you want to maybe. Oh, hello. She can tell you like which walls are load bearing.
Is anyone tinkering with things?
Oh my gosh. I knew we brought you guys for something.
You asked that, but oddly enough, in some of the meeting rooms, there are different guild meetings that are taking place in some of those little meeting rooms that are off to the side. And you don't know necessarily if they're tinkering, but there is, I don't want to say demonstrations, but there are some discussions with, a couple of tools and a couple of things and maybe a diagram, and they're showing like how talking about how we should do it this way, or maybe we do, or that sort of thing is going on in certain in a couple of those meeting rooms.
Oh yeah, Emmy is totally going to be all in on that.
Me and Emmy are going to go stalk some of those meetings there.
Some of it is kind of as you're listening, you're getting bits and pieces of things like the different artisan guilds. We have like jewel crafters that are talking about different ways of casting certain metals so that temperature variations are within norms and process control is being met, and all of these different types of things are being talked, like different methodologies. Using this material is part of the casting, will help absorb heat faster, which will help with these metals, but these other metals, that cooling too fast will cause them to crack, and you get all kinds of this kind of stuff talking about in the little meeting rooms going on. As you kind of span about and look at some of the different things, you can see that there is even though that there's an eclectic grouping of people in this big room, there is a noticeable segregation, if you will, of different types of people. The Vistani tend to be those that are entouraging around the stage. They're the ones they're obviously Vistani performers. There are a few other people that aren't Vistani, some regular humans. There are the noticeably no Vryloka in the room.
Can you decipher that again? Which one was the vampires?
That's the Vryloka.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just saying, just because I rolled a 6, I was kind of keeping an eye on Emmy, and I just kind of wandered in with her, and I'm sitting there listening to all this, and I'm like, are they even speaking common? I'm just so confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of jargon being thrown around about certain crafting methodologies.
And Amy's eyes are just big, like she just got a big bowl of sugar in front of her or something. She's like eating it all up. She's actually not fidgeting with her hand. She's actually listening.
There are some Shatterkai that are like that, as well as some certain humans that are all kind of congregating together that are doing some of the games, but they're not the ones that are betting. They are doing different types of games, even with cards and dice, that seem to be less of the competitive gambling type games that those that are they're nearer to the music. They're gambling. There's a couple of Vistani with them, mostly humans though, and they're the ones that are gambling and that sort of thing. There are a couple of human-like races that maybe are either distant descendants or come from different lineages that are also kind of fettered together, and then they usually have things like notes and books and things, and they're talking about, different topics in those things, and every now and then someone will be like, see, and here in this line indicates that perhaps what you saw in this other book means some other thing, or almost like lawyers trying to make connections of what meaning was meant to be driven from different things, or researchers finding one nugget of information that might lend insight into others, all kind of happening here in the middle of the day, all throughout the afternoon.
I will keep myself occupied.
I do order a couple of drinks. Like I don't know, see what kind of interesting things I have. Just as far as the business side, comparing what I may have to offer to what they have already. Not a lot, and I'm not getting tips or anything. Just more of sampling.
Note that most of the product that is readily available is vastly inferior to yours.
You're just like ordering a bunch of them, sipping them, and then like giving them to Fancy to drink.
No. Fancy has work to do. He can't be getting wasted.
Of considerable note, of all the different things that are going on, from the guild stuff to the people being entertained, after a while of sitting about and kind of being intentional, of listening for certain topics that might come to mind while you're also engaging with your own subgroups that you choose to do so, there has been zero talk of anything to do with Einar.
No, that is interesting. Maybe they're not here yet.
Maybe they don't know that they're coming.
Or maybe they're not coming.
Maybe they're in the dark. That's a joke. Okay.
Been hanging around Fancy entirely too long.
I mean, Weldon rubs off too. All that hair. Shits.
Whoa. I'm not a shedder. Don't you dare. I'm a short fur, alright?
Still shoulds.
Weldon is well washed. He's groomed, alright?
Oh, is that why the shower keeps clogging?
That's why I have my own room. We don't share a shower.
One other particular, I guess, notable thing, since you're here for particular purposes, while you're trying to make do that your interest in one area or another, which may be legitimate interest in one area or another, the gambling or the artisanry or the entertainment, but all is a kind of an underlying part of your primary objective, right? Is to be here in one wait out time and maybe gather some intel or at least get a litmus test as to how people feel about different things. There are murmurings of every now and then, like some strange things that are happening beyond the normal amount of strange that they're used to. It's almost like ghost stories in a way of these, howls on the wind, and could swear that they saw someone that should have passed on to the mother's embrace. To, like these different kinds of things are being said on occasion. Usually in complaints. Particularly like those that lose. They're complaining about one thing or another. It was I only lost because of such and such, or and then you'll see that the bad luck or the bad air is maybe being blamed on whatever's going on that's causing these other things. But it's minor.
I want to find like a table of like fishermen or sailors and captains or whatever, and see if I can find someone who looks like they'd be willing to talk to me, and order them a drink.
There's a handful of local folk that might fit that description, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of outsiders here. Like true outsiders.
Locals, fine. And I sort of want to, talk to them about life on the water, and ask them if they've seen anything, out of the ordinary or odd, sort of like discreetly leading them towards questions about like a ship that we saw or something similar.
Yeah, so like let's hit let's do a persuasion check for starters. And then either a knowledge history or another investigation. Whichever route you want to maybe kind of attack that line of questioning with. Okay, investigation. Okay, so tell me a little how that conversation might go. Like, what kind of things are you leading them? Are you getting to ask them about, like maybe something to do with this ship?
Like I would probably start off with, just talking about how like what trade are they in specifically, if they're fishermen, and like how goes it, like has there been increase or decrease in fishing haul or variety of fish, asking if they have lots of competition, and then like asking if they've seen like other ships out on the waters that aren't competition but sort of in odd areas or unusual areas for like non-fishing ships to be.
You'll get a lot of demeanor from the locals, especially, that they compete with one another to some extent, but the shores and the fish are bountiful, and so even though they might compete, it's usually more of a it's less of you took from me and more of a, hey, I got the bigger haul than you, kind of thing. It's like cooperation more so than it is,
like friendly competition.
Yeah, than it is like you fish my water, so now I don't have fish. That's not the like. It seems like an overabundance, and it's just a matter of who can reap in the biggest parts of that abundance when it comes to that sort of thing. There are a few that do some local transports along the waterways, along the coast from one city to another, that sort of thing. But one thing that they seem pretty adamant about is that it's not that outsiders are unwelcome, it's just that outsiders themselves don't find themselves welcome or amenable even to the circumstances of the shadow and the mist and the dark in general, even on the regular shores. And so, unlike other countries, they only have to compete with themselves, which is why they get to have the cooperation rather than the the cutthroat competitions that other countries have to endure. So some notable, like they're part of in a way, some kind of family of those that do this sort of thing to get like all the captains and the sailors all feel conjoined, even if they're on different crews. So you get a feeling of camaraderie and togetherness that normally isn't there in other places, but also a wariness of those that are on the outside and the like. But to their knowledge, it's been business as normal, and there hasn't been the occasional ship comes in to drop off goods as is normal, but nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. The other than the ship you came in on, which they noted to be of particularly boisterous in itself, that it maybe even noted that it could have been captained by the captain of all Vistani, just by its look. Something that maybe even would put Vistani to shame. Maybe those words were even said.
Fucking fighting words.
And like, I would kind of ask them, like, does Moore house a lot of like any of those local sail or fish? Like, I assume we're on the west coast of
Yes,
Erden, right?
we are
Southwest
indeed.
or
Yes. For
okay.
like only we're like let's say that the coast of Florida was kind of like the coast from the beginning to top. Like you'd be you wouldn't be down in the Keys where we are, but you'd be up near Orlando, like close to the close to the Carolinas, even to some extent. Like you're not all the way up the U.S. as across the entirety of their country, but it's a good bit from the southern border.
Okay. So they wouldn't necessarily, even if there were sailors and more, they wouldn't necessarily cross paths with them because they would be further south.
Yeah, I mean that they would say that they every now and then they run into those folk, but their culture doesn't tend to utilize their seafaring nature almost at all. So they're hardly ever on the waters, and when they are, they're like usually scout or combat ships, less so than mercantile or more is known to be raiders, but they don't. They kind of think of most of Erden as bad juju, and so they stay away from it because of the shadow, and so they've got like a almost like almost the culture as a whole just leaves Erden alone, just because they're, if you will, afraid of the ghosts and afraid of like the ancestors and all the other dark stuff that takes place here. They don't even tend to tread over to fight there. They usually fight the dwarfs that are on and the giant folk that are on their southern borders.
Do you have more? You're going with this, Rivka?
I was gonna ask one other thing, which
Oh,
was
go ahead.
like every sailor loves a good yarn. So what's the best ghost story you have?
Strangely enough, they're kind of taken aback by your question. Is like where you're from, like even most of all the rest of the world, ghost stories are just that. The phantom ships and the like all of this stuff, which is just folklore. But here in Nerden, the ghosts can be seen. Um, it's not folklore here. They're not a. They are known to exist. The spirits walking the earth. They tend to bleed through to the Shadowfell, which is, there's that connection directly from Erden to the Shadowfell, and they linger. Some linger for longer than others, but before moving on into the Shadowfell, which in itself is kind of like the staging ground for the afterlife in a lot of ways. Um, and so they're a little more. I don't know. Say they're like ha, yeah, outsiders. They don't get it.
Okay.
So thread I was going to try to pull on. I want to try to keep that dialogue going, and I just kind of share one of my own just air quote ghost stories. I just say like I've heard of whole settlements of whole cities that weren't really there. There was actually nothing, but they gave the illusion that this was a place of hope to draw people in. But when they got there, it was something much darker. And I'm really just trying to swap stories and hopefully encourage them to tell more about uh, uh, people passing through and whatnot, I guess.
But lure you in. I mean, if a ghost be calling, you either answer or you don't. But what the consequences of not answering, that depends on the ghost.
Has there been more asking for help recently? One of my fellow travelers is interested in stories like this. We were mentioned of a crypt we could visit. Do you oh, what do you know about that? You do know something. That's how it was brought to my attention, yes.
There's a painting of it?
Is that castle in the middle? How long has that been there?
You ever hear of a stone that breathes? That was my inclination too. Coral. Only living stone I can think of, but I don't know. About it, because not really alive, right? But I don't know, maybe moss.
When I'm just in my mind's eye, there's a few people at this table, so like maybe when they start to initially go for another round of drinks, I wave it off and I pull out one of my pints and I pour them a little bit of some peach brandy. That's something from my home. I do pour him another glass.
Maybe we can fix things up so that you can get more of it easily. Dagon, how much is it compared to the stuff this overpriced tavern keep is charging?
So I'm gonna say this out of character is Lord, I have no idea about actual cost structure here. Well, I do suppose if we're able to get some direct to merchant business lines going here, it would not be incredibly more than what you're drinking now. Of course, we do have some higher end flavors as well, but we are small batch, artisanal, but not exclusive. I think fate has guided me to this table. Emmett. Oh, Emmett. Well, I am Dagan, and across from me is Amaros, and some other friends are here too. We represent Badland Brews. Come from the other side of the pond here. Indeed.
I don't know.
What? You should know. Is he poor or not? Is he rolling dice?
I mean,
he's still
he was
poor,
trying to.
but
He
is
was.
he
I mean, fancies himself as a scammer, so he thinks he's going to take everybody's money, whether he does or not. That's up.
Oh, are you trying? Are you trying to run a scam? You should totally roll on that.
I mean, he would definitely cheat to win if he
Yeah, you
if
should,
he
to-
saw
you
the
should totally
opportunity.
roll on that. I want to see what happens.
About that tavern brawl,
Is there a? I was just going to ask if there is like a bar sitting arrangement or anything that would maybe a table that would kind of be in the middle of everything. Okay. Val's gonna just kind of walk by Dagan where he's having that conversation there at the table and just kind of pat him on his left shoulder twice, and he keeps walking. He's gonna get like a corner seat at the bar, kind of like where Norm would be at in Cheers, and then he's gonna take out the volume of the History of the Radiant Eclipse book and just start openly reading it after he's got settled in there. He's gonna have to kind of no. I'm not sure if that book had any bindings or any kind of iconography. What's that word? Iconography. That's the pronunciation. On the outside of it, but
I do start out of the corner of my eye, kind of initially watching him. Then when I see what he's doing, just sort of discreetly watch everyone else.
Me and Emmy are shadowing all the presentations and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Hello. Oh, that's fantastic. I guess show him up to Weldon's room, and I'll gather the group. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, how generous. We'll be right there. Can you point it out to me, or shall we just? Yeah.
Are we supposed to see the map of this room or?
No.
Oh,
just
okay.
description.
Make sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stand up and shake hands with Emmett. I assume I'm still at that table, and tell him, thanks for chatting. It was a pleasure to meet you. And then I'm gonna tap Dagan and tell him to get Val and Fancy, and then I'm gonna go towards Weldon and Emmy.
Yep. Emmett is going to basically say, that it has been a rare treat to be able to have good chats with outsiders. So he thanks you for that and for the drinks.
Oh, you're very welcome. I do hope I believe we will be seeing more of each other.
Now just remember, old Emmett.
Oh,
Don't
Emmett.
be forgetting. There'll be money to be had, and I saw you first.
Oh, Emmett, I won't forget.
I suppose you are the birch that I'm here to help disguise. Make welcome to our society.
Trying to think how to reply to that.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe not trying to stick out. Almost got a little old limit there. Stick out too much.
Well, you wouldn't want to be the gaggle of buffoons walking about town now, would you?
Not visibly.
Fancy takes this opportunity to mention, he says, I could be famous. I think I might be famous.
I do wonder what possibly for. But not enough to hear it. So you're here to entreat in the fashion of Erden. Fashion here is not simply for vanity. The threads woven are woven with shadow itself. It provides a protection of sorts. The patterns, though somber, hold meaning, a story, a shield, a silent warning to those who would watch from beyond the veil.
What are the different patterns, and what do they mean?
Oh, those are trade secrets, I'm afraid. But work they do, to an extent.
Well, that sounds like a good salesman line.
I'll take it.
That
And Fancy stands up as if he's going to get, measured. Puts his arms out.
I think this will fit you well. The cloth is spun from the silk of shadow spiders, infused with the magic of the mists. You'll find it less heavy than it seems. In Erden, we value quiet grace and subtle strength.
Ooh, I like this. Tries it on.
With small amounts of altering, he's quite correct. This actually fits you rather well from what he just grabbed off the rack. It is gray toned, like everything else. Most of the things here are gray toned, and yet there are, as you can see, some very faint linings and patternings on the silk itself. That even though it is gray, it still holds some level of elegance and even though at first appeal it looks somber and downtrodden, it still has some uplifting quality to it, but only at close inspection. Something that they have value is hidden, not shown on the outside.
Fancy attempts to promenade around, making sure that everybody can see how great he looks.
We Shadowkai know the value of stillness. Perhaps something in addition to the dress you will too well learn, or still stand out like the sore thumb you are.
I like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
We prefer to fade into the twilight, rather than drawing too much light upon ourselves. These garments, they help with that. They belong to the shadows, as we do, but they are only clothes. So, to your purpose, you must match the shadows, inside as well as outside. A few moments kind of go by while he's mostly been interacting with Fancy kind of up front, and looks like he's been concentrating, and he knows there's other people in the room and he's seen different things, and but it seems as though that Val has gone unnoticed for some period of time. But when he does finally notice that Val is standing kind of quietly to the side of the room, you can see he's going to stammer a bit and kind of lose some of his composure.
Apologies, friends. I won't be offering you any patronage today.
Are you the one they say came from beyond the shadow? From the outside world?
Well, that's an interesting story. Where'd you come by it?
The murmurings from the docks not long ago. There was talk of someone from beyond. Given your company, I can't help but assume that you must be the one they spoke of. To walk beneath a foreign sky, far from the Queen's shadow, you must have seen things, felt things that are strange even to me. You can see that, like, he's kind of come up to you, like, he started, even though you said you're not going to patronage, is almost like measuring you anyway. And just kind of really looking, like, you can see that he's, like, hunting for something, investigating, searching, trying to put some thoughts together. Your skin, it hasn't paled as ours would in the absence of Erden's embrace. And your eyes, yet they still hold some of the night. Perhaps the Raven Queen has not forgotten you after all.
I never dreamed she would forget about me. I always assume she will call me home when it is time. She always has before.
To be so blessed with such a direct connection. We must fight for the mere semblance of the embrace. Something, it seems, is beyond you. Or beyond your need. Or at least your need to fight.
Fighting was never my strong suit. I only serve.
Strength to you, Shadow Brother. To have her blessing and continue on. We are but in awe. I don't suppose that you would take something made from me as a gift instead, would you? You said you would not purchase, but you are
Inside
such
check.
a rarity.
Ooh.
You can tell that he very much is actually in awe of Val. And his offer to give clothes is to Val. To everyone else, there is some level of disdain and expected payment.
I meant no disrespect. You spin fine garments, but I would not wish to waste your fabric, as my garb is very designed for utility. become accustomed to it over the years.
As you see fit, you would know best. Alright, who else would like to try some of these fine wares?
I do.
Fancy elbows, Armoros. Come on, come on, come on.
I'm not wearing something if I don't know the message it's sending. Just like I wouldn't wear a t-shirt that says, or a shirt that says something in a language I don't understand. It's a matter of principle.
Look, Armoros, I can read this. I know it's safe.
You can't
If
read
you want,
it. It doesn't say anything. It's only a
Look,
message
I'm
to the
I'm gonna
spirits.
whisper in your ear what it says.
Right, okay.
Wu-Tang.
It says get fucked. So when you
Eat me.
yeah, it says eat me. It's that aggro shirt.
Yeah, the tailor's gonna go to Dagon and, given your current garb and not so frail size to you, my thinks is that silk is probably not the type of garb that you are looking for. Something a little more heft with a little less elegance.
Yeah, something I can slip over my armor, but still, I don't need to snag on anything. I still need to have movement.
I may have just the thing. Something made from the leather of the shade boars, perhaps. And then he presents he kind of looks, and then he goes to a different rack, and then he's like, no, and he kind of pulls something out, and no, and then he goes over and he finds a leather outfit that looks like rustic wear, that is very fine quality, but kind of matches more or something that you would like.
Yeah, I try it on, and then I kind of just move my arms about as if I was swinging swing a sword or something. It's like, yeah, I believe yes.
Yep, minor things. Those the little tightness here. Just a few minutes, and we have that whipped up so that you will hardly know you're wearing anything at all.
You have my appreciation.
Well, anyone else care to partake in the shadow woven garb?
I just go to tap on Emmy. She might be taking notes from what meeting she was just in.
You go to do so, and she's not there.
Oh man, lost her already.
She's not in the room at all.
What do I have here? What would you pick out for me?
While Weldon does that, I kind of I walk back out to the. So I'll be right back. I'll find a friend.
Well, let's see. Strange proportions to my usual guests, but something that I can definitely handle.
Strange but well done proportions.
Oh, I mean no offense. Just not my usual clientele, or those from your lineage.
Oh, I am unusual.
He does like carrots, though. If you have extra pockets.
I like carrots so much, I'd sell this man to you as a slave.
Interesting aristocracy. Slave owner, even. He goes to a rack and
Only a
pulls off,
master of fire.
like, a fine silken, not just like 3-piece suit, but like a 5-piece suit that that has like small gold embroideries and ruffles along the collars and the cuffs.
Fancy is clearly offended that he didn't get this one.
By your very nature, it seems as though that perhaps this might mask, or perhaps resemble who you are. What do you think of this?
Oh, what color is it? Sorry.
This one's going to be, it's all somewhere in the grayscale to an extent.
Okay.
But
It's shades of gray. Little blue, little purple.
Yeah, it is mostly grayscale, but there is some embroidery or some small colorations. Yeah, like it's like if purple was toned to gray, I guess.
Amaros chuckles under his breath and says, "Yeah, put the bunny in ruffles, then it'll look even more like a stuffed animal."
I'm not there, but I approve of all of this.
One doesn't have to wear the ruffles.
One does not merely wear ruffles.
Fancy pipes up. He says, "Don't you think that? I mean,
Fancy, do you
I
want
would
this?
look better in ruffles?
Fancy, do you want this?
Well, I mean, I am the leader of this group, and
Too
it
bad.
seems
I'll buy it.
I think you're also slightly taller than Weldon. I mean, his ears don't count, so.
Damn right they don't count. They're not targets.
For the materials and the tailoring, for those that wish, 25 gold an outfit ought to be plenty. And maybe
I pay him.
even in your favor a little, just from getting to entreat with your friend.
I pay him and thank him for his services and tell him if he needs us, And then, you know where to find us." He says something weird like that, like uncomfortable. And then he says, "Have you ever heard of a crypt around here?"
There are places where the dead are buried all throughout Erden. It is, in some respects, one of our known features.
Yeah, but
the city
a
itself has a crypt.
No, a crypt with like breathing stone, something like that, and a fool.
I think I know where the fool is.
Oh, glad you did not miss that opportunity.
I approve of your keen insight. Before you leave, could I bother you with an inquiry?
I'm very much confused by his, so I would like nothing more than to hear yours.
You mentioned of the story of me upon the murmurings at the docks. Have you heard any other murmurings of portals, direct connections to the Shadowfell? Recent ones here in Erden?
There are passages that have been here for some time. He kind of looks at you a little, you can see from his body language, he's like he's leaning away, confused.
Those are familiar to me, but I'm discussing more of Not necessarily a permanent one, but a manufactured one. Not the natural ones like you would likely observe in a place like this.
Oh. Well, that's dangerous work. We know that those passages are there for their own limits. The Shadowfell bleeds into this world in a way that would be dangerous to be much more either direction. To manufacture something is ill-advised. If that is what you're hoping to do, I would caution you against it.
No, it's very much the opposite. I would like to inhibit such a thing from happening. Were there to be a place near here.
I would hope that all the councils would find such a thing out. Whoever might try to do something so foolish. But, you know, it is what the aristocracy has stayed in power for all this time, is to create this nice balance between the dangers of that world and the wonders of this one.
What would it take to be granted an audience with all of the councils at once?
Oh, I don't know that that's possible. If such a thing has even been considered. It's unlikely that any one of them would even hear such a request near as much granted.
So they rely on receiving their potentially dire tidings through the murmurings at the docks, then.
Oh, I would not dare to know how they know the things they know, or whom for which they would entreat, but I don't know. Maybe. One such as myself would never get such an audience. There are many layers, perhaps, that my words may eventually reach them, but I would never talk to them. Not that I would have anything to say.
I won't take up any more of your time, but ply your trade well, Shadowkin, because the war is on the horizon. It's coming here, and none of us will know its effect until it's already upon our doorstep.
War? And openings to the Shadowfell? Do you think that is that the war you speak of? That they intend to come here through there? Have they finally come to reclaim those of us that have left? Is this the worry? You can see that he is starting to get like there's been some kind of nerve touched, like maybe some kind of underlying fear that all Shatterkai have, that they left the embrace of the Raven Queen, and while it was such a monumental thing to do, there is some underlying fear that someday that she will come and take them back.
Even the human mortals aren't promised the next day, so I can't promise you that. The war I speak of comes from the high elves out of Einar.
The Ainarians? I don't know that any of us have ever seen one. I hear it told they never leave. Or have never left. What war would they wage? And with us, no less.
Have you ever met a one of our high elf brothers or sisters?
No, surely not.
Well, just know they think very highly of themselves and their ability to still have access to that beautiful afterlife that we will never see. And they are definitely looking to push their agenda across all the borders that they have access to. Apparently, they are ill-tempered and they dislike how things have been going as of late. The rulers of the world.
Well, I don't suppose I can blame them. All that I hear of the outside has been nothing but treachery and deceit and danger for years and years. But for them to wage war on the world itself, troubling times, if true. Troubling times indeed. If the dead won't even go where they belong, what would we do when the living come to take over? Yep, I will heed your words, even though a lowly tailor, perhaps not the best recipient of them. I do entreat with many a folk, so I can at least perhaps forewarn some what good it will do. If no one else has any other business, I have another appointment to entreat with.
I would like to pause at that end point to see if I can get Emmy back there before they're done.
I suppose that's between you two.
I just go back to where I last saw her and see if she's still. I don't remember if we. I know. I don't know if she came in there with us or not. I don't remember. Or do I need to roll to see if I remember or noticed?
No, she came with you, but then you're talking about to meet the tailor, or
Yeah.
she came with you to meet the tailor, but was gone by the time you went to talk to her or direct anything to her. When you return to the Great Hall, you notice that she is, a little sweep of the room, and you'll notice that she is once again entreating with the artisans.
Emmy, you having a good conversation?
I suppose.
They starting to bore you already?
I'm sorry?
I said, are they starting to bore you already? We have a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just deep in talks of metal.
I wasn't sure if y'all were speaking common, to be honest. I didn't know.
They were speaking Emmy. Don't worry.
We have the tailor back there. He may be able to make you something. Lots of pockets.
I kind of like my clothes. I don't know why I need new clothes.
We're just trying not to stand out quite so much while we're here.
Oh, well, get me whatever you think. I need to get back to this talk here.
Might need you there to be able to size you up.
You know what size I am. Small. And Emmy turns back and starts talking about metals and jargon.
It's like, I don't know what language he's speaking again. I think it's. I would say it's infernal, but I know infernal, and don't sound nothing like that. I put my arms down and kind of measure her shoulder length out. And I try to remember that, and I take it back to the tailor. I don't take her back there. I take that back to the tailor length. It's just this. Yeah.
And what sort of garb would you like for?
Maybe just a simple cloak. She could put it on and off as she needs, with a lot of internal pockets, various sizes.
Well, that's easily doable. In fact, I think I have just the thing. And it's just like, you've got your hands up like this wide, like this big. So you can see him hold them up like that and then just turn with them held and then walking over towards the wreck. And then, this is something that we had thought to have made for one of the children of the aristocracy who wanted to have lots of little places to hide things. I think this ought to do perfectly.
Excellent.
But I don't suppose it's not for you, but who's going to pay for it?
I will pay for mine and hers.
Ah, very well then. This one's not really quite the full outfit now, is it? So maybe only 10 for this, then 25 for the outfits.
Excellent. I will take 35 gold out of my... And if we are done now, when we go back while she's still talking, I'm just gonna kind of put the cloak around her and kind of tie it and be like, it's got lots of pockets.
This will do. See, I knew you could do it.
The tailor
She goes back to arguing with whoever she was talking with.
The tailor and when he walks out of the room, and then he pulls in a couple of helpers who help him pack up a couple of the racks and things into chests, and then they carry them out. And when the tailor finally leaves, the innkeeper returns. Well, very well indeed. I see that some have found great clothes, great things. Smart you look, fabulous, wonderful.
I do like it. I do like it, actually.
I did manage to secure this meeting with the scholar, as I promised. I could be here momentarily if you were so ready to entreat with him as well.
Yes, maybe the only thing I could get Emmy away is someone even smarter to talk to. So.
Very well then. I will send someone over to have them come across, maybe just a few minutes. I'll have you know this person is of great import, as they often are, so their time may be limited, so you might want to be prepared so you get what you wish. Very well, I will see to it in a moment. And turns and walks away.
So I go back to get Emmy, and I'm listening to them talk. It's like, I don't know what centrifugal casting is, but Emmy, we have the scholar coming soon.
Oh, wonderful. When?
Very soon. I've been on the way right now.
Oh, gentlemen, I'm so sorry. I must go. She hops down off the table and follows you wherever you're taking her.
So, you lead back to the same special purpose room. Where the innkeeper kind of just implied that he would bring them there when, in just a moment when they came in. And then, right about the time that Dagan and Amy make it back to the room, the innkeeper comes back around the corner and says, "Ah, yes, they'll be here in a moment. I don't think that you'll miss them when they arrive. Any second now, she'll be walking through that door." And just as he kind of says that, a very tall, impossibly elegant-featured person takes off the large cloak that shrouds most of them, takes off the large hood that's under the cloak. They have the big face mask like the dock worker that you had encountered before, where you could only see just basically the slits of their eyes and hardly any of their direct features. Pulls the cloth mask off of their face. Underneath that cloak is black and crimson robes. His movements are very fluid and deliberate. His voice is soft and carries some level of power and confidence. And then when he talks in that same way that Dockmaster did, the very poetic, that somehow seems to have some amount of charisma and charm laced within the words itself, almost as encapsulated by magic. "Ah, vigilant visitors to the vestige of vexation. What vile winds have whipped you here to Erden, the unyielding, where shadows dance and death doth dwaddle?"
You know about crystals, right?
Crystals? I am a seeker of secrets, a scholar of the sinister, and perhaps the perfect partner in your pursuit of this particular knowledge.
Amy pulls out her notebook and flips to the page where she drew all the crystals in detail. Can you tell me how these work?
See, that takes the little book and pulls it up. Well, I've seen its like.
It made the ship float.
On a scale of such sight, I think...
Above the water?
A child's dream.
What would it take for that to be a reality?
Power insurmountable.
Well, that child's dream is a reality off your shores.
So how do they work? Where can I find some?
Is
there a shop here that sells them?
There is of much that you will find in reality that matches this particular thing.
But we saw it.
I'm sure you did, child.
What do you know about the movements of Ionar?
The movements of Einar. You can see he's just kind of looking at you questioningly. I'm not sure that Perhaps I have misjudged the purpose of this meeting.
An exchange of knowledge.
I just want to know about these cool crystals you have here.
Just kind of looking at you very vexingly.
Did he so I'm assuming that everyone will caught me up on what I missed from before, and how it seems like no one on the street level knows anything about what's happening with Ionar. So his reaction, was it one of surprised that I'm asking, or surprised that it's occurring?
Roll an insight check.
Okay. Wow, my dice went weird. Sorry. Let's try that again.
I think from both perspectives, it's a matter of both. He doesn't know why you're asking him anything to do with this, or what this is.
Fancy knows what to ask.
Oh God, do it.
So as a research scholar, this might not be his subject.
Guys, this guy is the guy that knows. Hey, do you know about the crypt?
He's here to talk about crystals, not a freaking crypt. He's here to teach us about the crystals of this land.
It wasn't of this land, Emmy. You're on the
It was
right
close to
continent,
here.
though. Yeah.
Well, we saw them
No.
close to here, yes.
But they didn't hail from here. I think the crypt is maybe the right response, or the right question. What about when you said death dawdles?
Death doth dawdle in these lands.
Yes, what do you mean by that?
Is to formulate his response in the form of alliteration.
Oh yeah, that's
I can only offer you what my wisdom allows. For in these matters, even the most meticulous mind may be muddled by mystery. Yet I shall not deny my debt to discovery. The souls shackled do not stride with serene steps. The Shadowfell pulls, yet something stays their surrender. Perchance plots to push that precarious balance, prying the veil wider still.
Stone that breathes.
Perhaps not of the stone, but of the eclipse.
Clip. What a clip.
Isn't the sun always eclipsed here?
Think bigger.
Bigger than the sun.
Don't forget the whole purpose we're here.
Realms eclipsing other realms?
What can you tell us of Shatterkai cult potentially manufacturing a direct connection to the Shadowfell in this area?
Ah, the Radiant Eclipse. A most malicious moniker. Its members, marionettes to a master most malevolent, maneuver in the murk. Their purpose, perhaps perchance to pierce the perpetual pall of Palor's purloined power.
Right. That can't happen.
I have heard of their handiwork, hidden in the hollows of history. What they worship, I wonder. Is it truly light, or is it the shadows the light casts that captivate their craving?
That is blasphemous. Blasphemy is what drives them.
Are there people sympathetic to their aims? Are they recruiting more followers?
To speak of the eclipse is to speak of duality, a delightful dance between dark and daylight. They are devoted to Palor, yes, but their devotion doth deceive, for their light is laced with lies. I would beware the eclipse's enticing embrace. They don the sun as a sigil, but offer no solace. No, their warmth withers. What they wield is the searing scorch of selfish ambition and sinister schemes.
In these lands, who stands against them?
What wondrous whispers weave within the weighty walls of the majestic middle crypt, nestled at the heart of this hallowed land?
Aha! The mausoleum. A monument most morbid. It is said the very stones sigh with sorrow, and the souls within stir not toward salvation, but suffer in silence. There, in the graveyard's grim grasp, the radiant eclipse seeks something. Something significant. A gateway, perhaps, to grander glory. They wish to wed shadow and sun, forging a foul fusion that festers both realms.
Where would we find the graves of the nameless or the tombs of the forgotten?
I look to Fancy so he can say it pretty like, so the guy will reply better.
Yeah, one sec. Wait, what was the question that we want to ask?
The graves of the nameless or the tombs of the forgotten.
Pray, ponder the plight of the perished, those nameless navigators whose nautical narratives nestle in nebulous nooks. What whispers waltz within the watery graves, or what secrets slumber in sepulchres, silent and solemn?
Shadows sly and shrouded are seldom what they seem. They are sentient, they sift and study, and on occasion they strike. Stay sharp, stay shrewd, and perhaps survival will be your story.
As an aside, guys, we just beat D&D. Fancy, ask if they're allies.
Okay. Uh, are we asking who? Ask if who is allies.
If they're allies fighting against the Eclipse. Allies on our side.
Are you avowed allies ardently arrayed against the advancing abyss of the astronomical anomaly?
Ah, allies ardent and astute against the abhorrent ambitions of the Eclipse? Indeed, there are few formidable forces though fleeting in the face of such fiendish foes. From the fringes of forgotten fortresses to the fabric of our fading world, there are whispers of warriors who wage war in the waning light.
Fancy's convinced that we know where we're going. One more.
The guardians of balance, Gallants and Glim, guard the gates between the gloom and the glow, striving to stall the sinister schemes of those who dare to disturb the delicate dance of dusk and dawn.
Protection, can we afford against them to get us safely to the mausoleum?
Should you find yourselves floundering in the fog, follow the faintest flicker of truth, for even a dim light can deliver deliverances when it shines in the deepest darkness.
I think we have the information we need. Let's go.
Night.
It's the perfect time to go. Although, I do feel a little bit underdressed. Cast a glare towards Weldon.
Too bad.
If you can master the meandering maze of mist and memory, the path is precarious, fraught with false steps and shifting shadows, but fear not, for I shall provide you a way to weave through the web of woe.
Ah, yes. What is this way?
First, follow the will of the wisps, those wandering wraiths of light, for though fickle, they guide the weary through the winding ways, but tread with care, for they tire easily of company, and vanish if disrespected.
I yearn to don ruffles deftly dealt by the diligent rabbit during our daring voyage.
That was actually pretty good.
You can see that he smirks at you. Not at all interesting to him.
That was just for Weldon.
You feel special.
follow the will of the wisps. Anything else?
Well, obviously don't disturb them. Come on, this is going to be easy.
Don't disrespect them, he said. And I look
That's
at
what I
Fancy.
said.
Don't disrespect them.
I said.
Any
disturb
other
them.
astute advice?
Beyond the graves of the nameless, where the air is thick with sorrow and silence, you will find a twisted oak tree, its roots reaching like claws into the earth. This ancient arbiter marks the whispering crossroads, where the winds speak of forgotten paths. There you must turn toward the crypts of sorrows, a structure of solemn stone, where shadows cling like cloaks. It is said those who listen closely can hear the echoes of the dead, offering guidance.
I'm such a good listener.
Character,
Don't.
can you print that?
Yeah, because my notes are.
What? Can I just ask about crystals? What they can create?
I tell him, we are grateful for the treasure trove of tidings you've tendered. We tip our hats to your tireless toil and tap into the treasury of your tremendous thoughtfulness.
First, he's going to turn back to Emmy in her plea for info about the crystals. And his response there is, in the hands of artisans adept in their alchemy, crystals can conjure creations that shimmer with arcane splendor. But as for the specifics of their shapes, shadows, and secrets, that I fear is beyond the bounds of my breadth of knowledge. I am but a humble seeker of shadows' stories, not a sculptor of stones. There are those whose fingers feel the pulse of the earth within these precious prisms, and they craft from them tools, trinkets, and treasures that even the dark deigns to desire. Seek such savants, if it is the secrets of the crystal you crave.
She scribbles down seer, seek. She's not exactly sure what all this means, but she's trying to scribble down what she can remember.
And finally turn to Fancy. You seek gratitude for the guidance I have graciously gifted. Fear not, for the favor was freely offered, and no debt need darken your steps. The shadows here in their silent splendor ask for nothing in return, and neither do I.
Fancy gives him a royal bow.
In this land where darkness and light dance their endless waltz, may my words be the rhythm that carries you onward. You are, as ever, most welcome to the weight of my wisdom I have woven.
Thank God Dagon feels like he may need a drink now.
Mm-hmm.
Between this and the metallurgy talk. Which this made slightly more sense.
Maybe you should offer him a drink too.
I don't know how to say it fancy like.
I think
Fancy.
you still get the meaning.
Fancy turns to everybody and he says, "Ahoy, intrepid crew. I propose we push off post-haste, our prow pointed toward the horizon in pursuit of those elusive ethereal embers, the wistful will-o'-wisps. By dusk's descent we shall spy their spectral dance upon the... Wait. Waves? No, let me see.
Still workshopping it, buddy.
At this moment, as you kind of begin to talk, about what you're going to do with this information, the Vryloka turns to Val. I couldn't help but ask. A book bound in subtle silence, clasped within your careful hands. Its pages must hold secrets, perhaps, whispers long forgotten, or truths that lie between twilight and daybreak. Might I inquire, dear wanderer of shadows, what musings or mysteries those written words weave? I find myself ever drawn to the dance of knowledge, particularly when it may align with my own quiet research into, certain shadowed subjects. Could it be?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
it was a bit of a dry read. You might like it.
Perhaps an exchange of ideas might enrich both our pursuits. A
If
version
there's
of the book
anything-
you might yield?
Anything else at all you can give to us to help us cut this tenuous connection to this manufactured connection to the Shadowfell would be most helpful. I would offer you the book in exchange for that.
The portals, those perilous passages, manufactured by the malignant machinations of the radiant eclipse. I have gleaned, through whispers and writings, a troubling truth. These gates are not mere tears in the veil, but deliberate designs crafted with cruel cunning. The Eclipse, with their twisted devotion to Palor's corrupt light, seeks to blend shadow and sun in ways most unnatural. Their portals are forged through a foul fusion of shadow magic and radiant energy, a contradiction that should not coexist, yet they force it to. The results are unpredictable, volatile. These gates do not merely bridge realms, they rupture them, stretching the boundaries of the material plane and the Shadowfell until the lines blur dangerously. Each portal requires soul essence, harvested from the restless dead. This is where the spirits trapped in the mausoleum of silent souls come into play. They fuel the portals, bound unwillingly to the Eclipse's cause, their unrest amplifying the power of these gateways.
Val just tosses the book over to him. Does anyone know of a vessel or storage means for this soul essence?
I mean, it's not the whole crypt, the whole graveyard. It's not the entirety of the thing. One huge thing of soul essence.
You may have my deepest gratitude, truly. This book, this bound bastion of knowledge, now rests in capable hands, and for that I am indebted to you. The pages may offer not only insight in my own path, but, with fortune, a way to aid others who walk the very same shadowed roads as you and your companions. Ooh, so arcane and history knowledge is about the ways to store soul essence?
Yep, if there's a history of souls being stored, and if I know of a magical means to do which.
There is a very prominent way in which that has been done through arcane magic in the past, and that is how liches, through their own phylacteries, store parts of their souls. There is some connection to that, but perhaps scalable to some larger scheme that instead of just some jar or vessel that holds a single soul, maybe something that becomes more like a magnet to many in some large stone structure, in both the emblematic way in which it is created and perhaps through glyphs infused with both shadow magic and radiant magic, something that both are needed. The Raven Queen uses through the deity that is Shar and the Raven Queen, their passage of souls across the Shadowfell, which is kind of like their purgatory, into the afterlife beyond. There's some weaving of both arcane and divine, and the arcane has kind of like a shadow essence nature to it that is part of these designs, and the divine has some semblance of radiant energy. That's kind of like some cosmic thing that already kind of exists, but it's only like purposefully woven into reality, not something that is actually wielded. But this seems like something that is now being wielded, and like the scholar had said, this is not a thing. This is like oil and water; they don't mix, but somehow they're being forced to mix.
So phylactery, it's the convergence of souls. Yeah, dude.
Maybe this giant castle-like mausoleum itself is one giant soul battery, giant phylactery itself. Or it could be something inside of it, or who knows.
Mm-hmm.
Might just be a Dollar General.
There are several.
Sorry.
And let me just put some of the other pieces in the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, I definitely gotta listen to this one over again. So many words. But like a lot of good little bits there and there.
Oh man, these are out of order. Oh crap.
Oh no!
You've ruined my immersion.
I'm just gonna click them in this random order that they're in, and then. So many.
So many? Jeez. Are you done yet? That's a horrible, horrible way to ask the GM, are you done yet? Because then he rolls a D100 and we all die.
We're done when I say you're done.
We're done now.
Almost.
So much to reread because I lose so much in conversation. It's nice that you can post the text though, and we can use it as our journal in Discord.
Nope, okay, I think that's all of them.
Now, if only I could read.
I look in my just a little miscellaneous bag of holding for some of the various alcohols I got, and I pull out a pint and hand it to him. Mead, mirthful, mankind's most marvelous, mystical, magical merriment in your mouth. Mead.
The last thing before we go to break here will be now that the Ryloka has the book, he's kind of started to thumb through the book a little bit, and he is kind of now, almost in some ways like Emmy does, getting kind of lost to what's going on around him. And then, like y'all have been maybe talking, but he is kind of checked out a little bit. And he just kind of looks up and says, "It seems our time together must momentarily part ways, like dusk yielding to night. But fear not, for the shadows, though fleeting, always return. Until our paths cross once more, may the twilight guide your steps with grace, and may the knowledge you seek reveal itself in due time." And then he just walks out.
Did we catch his name?
You did not.
Damn.
I guess the innkeeper might know. So bad with socializing.
Mm-hmm.
What say you now, guys? Should we rest and then head out in the morning, or do you want to go?
No, will-o-wisps only come out at night. We need to rest and go tonight.
Did it actually say that? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay, that's what I was not sure about, because Fancy was saying it.
Do we know that will-o-wisps only come out at night? What would that be? Is that lore or nature, or?
That would be Arcana, I think, in this particular setting.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Well,
I mean, you might be right. Oh, yeah, they're definitely nighttime is the right time. We should ask how far away this is.
Is there a curfew for the city? Are we gonna get in trouble for being out at night?
No.
No, but you are now in a room alone.
Yeah.
It's a night city.
Let's go ask
It's always
the
night.
innkeeper. Couple of questions, I guess.
Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll see where we are after that. The kind of like as you all kind of start to move out into the hallway and towards the main place where the innkeeper is, he's kind of standing in the hallway, just kind of waiting. Money well spent, I see. I told you that I would deliver on knowledge that you sought, specific to things that you were interested in.
You most certainly did. We got so engaged with our talks, we didn't catch his name.
You can see the innkeeper kind of ponder a bit on whether or not he should tell you.
Well, I suppose you can get in contact with the mysterious man again if we need it.
I suppose it's worth the money you've already spent to relinquish the name. He brought himself, after all. That was, of course, Lord Taliesin Darkwyn. What did I say? Talisar Darkwyn. I said it wrong.
They said Taliesin.
I probably did, thinking of...
Yeah, that's what I thought about first. Okay, cool. Thank you.
He is both one of the scholars at the research center here in town, but also a member of one of the councils. We'll just say that.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be saying this in front of the guy, but yeah, I expect he maybe knew a little bit more about the Ionarians than I feel like we got him off guard on that one. But it wasn't necessarily our main purpose, so. But back to where we're at. How far is V Crypt from here, travel-wise?
The mausoleum. In the
Yeah,
center
the
of
Mausoleum
town.
of Silent Souls.
The Mausoleum of Silent Souls. That is where you wish to journey.
Sounds like a fun place, right?
It would not be the best place to peddle your wares.
Well, it is a bit of business, a bit of pleasure. This is the pleasure portion of our vacation, so to speak.
I lean over to Fancy and like try to sell him that our friend here likes to tour graveyards. He's kind of weird.
And by our weird friend, that's Fancy's the weird friend.
I think that perhaps that silent souls need to remain silent, as he kind of holds out his hand, palm upwards. For everyone's best interest.
Who's paying him?
Straight up Rocket Man, dude.
I guess you are.
Which is
I put, how much did you pay him last time?
I've paid him like 100 gold.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I let's just start with I put 5 gold, and there's 5 gold for basic directions. That's not bad.
I've paid his yearly salary already.
Yeah, his kids are going to college for just the room prices.
This might keep just fingertips silent, but there's so much more that needs to remain silent, I think.
I add another 15 gold.
And he just kind of curls his fingers around it.
50 just really jumped up there, didn't you?
5 to 15 is fine. Let's just get through it.
You can see him kind of smirking a bit and like almost agitated at his willingness to take this deal at this price. I suppose there's some self-interest in it as well, and I will consider this suitable for silence.
Yeah, because if we don't come back, then, we won't have any more to pay.
And what other... And you wanted to know... What was it again?
How far is it from here? How travel time?
Yes, to where you can peddle your wares at the mausoleum.
This is more sightseeing.
Uh-huh.
Some various interests in our group.
It is
a work vacation.
Not of concern of mine. That is what this gold says. So, the thing you must know is that the mausoleum you seek sits in a graveyard that spans miles. And that is not really close to here. Depending on your route of travel, there are roads that lead that way. And there have been many traveling them as of late, so perhaps, for reasons unknown, but perhaps that will add to the safety of such a journey. But even if you took by horse or coach, you're looking at a couple of days travel at the least.
So we'll be, look at Fancy, we'll be sleeping in one more day here.
if you were to walk it, you might just set aside a whole week just to get to this place for sightseeing.
I'm sure we could arrange some travel. I'm sure you know just the person.
Why, as it turns out, I do.
Yeah, how lucky for us.
Would you like to take a couple of coaches across the countryside? Would you like to rent several mounts, horses? Or looks down at some of the smaller folk, or ponies?
I look at everybody. How,
I think
how
we
do
should
you
do
all?
coaches. I don't know if my... Wait, the sun's not bad in this area.
What's not bad in this area?
The sun. He was concerned about the sun, damaging his skin. After he
It's
just
probably
went
not
in
an
the
issue
desert.
here. How would you all like to travel?
Coach.
A wagon.
One or two coaches. What are y'all thinking? Don't really need to take a lot of supplies with us, to be honest. It's just us.
6 people should be able to fit in a coach.
I just turn back to him. I believe a coach will do us just fine.
Just one that will be big enough to house you all. I don't suppose you're taking luggage and the like on this such a journey.
No, we're gonna rough it.
Yes, all of
That's
our
probably
goods
doable.
are stored in warehouses, so we should be fine.
Ride with the coachman.
We could have the coach ready tomorrow in the morning if you so chose to leave that soon.
Yes, we're leaving that soon. Thanks for asking.
They would probably be unwilling to kind of go into the graveyard, but they could take you up to its edge. And from there you could find the last jaunt to the mausoleum. Would you want them to stay and wait for you some amount of time before, in the event of something happening that they had knew that they could return? Or is it just simply a drop-off situation?
I looked at everybody. It'll cost more, but it might be nice if we was able to get a ride back.
They're
Although,
not going to survive there. We got to let them go. Just drop off.
that's ominous. You don't say that part out loud. We'll probably just have them drop us off. We'll make arrangements to get back another way.
I would guess by coach they could have you there on the 3rd day after you leave. And then they're going to, of course, have to come all the way back. So, I don't know, 150 gold to rent the coach for effectively 6 days.
Fancy can't afford it by himself.
I'll buy it.
Oh man, I was going to split it.
Very well. I will see to the arrangements with haste. Is there anything else you have need of me?
I was thinking maybe I'll spend a little bit of the evening going to the warehouse and breaking up some small shipments and have him ship it to some of the various establishments in the area. Just a little sampler, include a little letter about, who we are and blah, blah, blah.
Ooh. Ways in which we might amplify the mercantile efforts. For efforts on my part, perhaps, if you were to throw in, some supply for me without charge, I'd be willing to do all of this bustling about for you.
It is merriment in your mouth, I'm told. That can definitely be arranged.
Some of the patrons have already expressed their pleasure, let us say.
Excellent.
will see to those things as well. Would there be anything else before I leave you to your rooms? I'll take that as a no. And then he turns and walks away.
Huh. I think we might be able to buy a wagon cheaper than that.
This guy definitely considers us to be suckers, but that's okay. I have a plan.
That's worrisome. I think we
And
should
what
get
is your plan?
I'm gonna get our gold back.
stay out of trouble. It's all business right off.
House always wins.
Yeah. We have really much more important things to worry about right now than a bit of the gold. I think we should maybe get a big meal somewhere tonight. Might be the last big nice meal we have for a little bit.
Big meals.
Just hang out, relax. We can maybe go to a different tavern or just go to the one here. We can walk the streets a little bit.
Different tavern, and we give them samples. Yes?
We can do that.
No, we're not. That's not really the mission. That was only a cover.
Yeah, but we're going. Well, actually,
Or
I mean,
here.
this actually could be a legitimate business thing. It may be happening.
Yeah, it seems like you need money.
But yeah, I can still take a sample while we're here. I'll introduce you to Kip and Janice. Next time we finish this, shut down the ship. We'll get some R&R, and I'll take you to my farm. I'll show you the business.
Alright, why don't we go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back in, say, 15 minutes, or let's see, what is it, like 50 or 5 minutes till, something like that, 5 minutes till, and then we will pick up with what we're going to do for the rest of the time, and then move on. Okay, so we've settled some business. We've met with some people. We have a direction. We've ordered a carriage to take us off to the east on a couple of day journey. Now time's starting to move into the later afternoon, evening time as throughout the town there would be some distribution of the liquors and drink that we are peddling. So with that in mind, is there anything particular we'd like to talk about or do before resting and then getting ready to get up and start the journey?
I would still just be kind of having my ear to the ground, so to speak. I'm just listening to what the general vibe is. I don't expect it would have really changed much in the past day, but
at least for the time being, it seems as though the immediate outside world is unaware of the much greater outside world.
I'd probably put some notes on paper about some actual business stuff. The start of another letter for Kip and Janice, if any of this actually goes through.
Let's then. Settle in with a long rest. As you awake then for the next morning, begin gathering your things. The innkeeper awaits you downstairs, and he has secured your transportation for you. And yeah, I'm just waiting for you to kind of everybody together and get ready to go.
Fancy gets his stuff on board quickly. Finds the best seat, whatever that is, that he thinks is the best seat.
When you see the carriage itself, it is quite a mighty thing to behold. Standard sized carriages usually fit kind of four forwards, like two forwards and two backwards, kind of looking at each other in the middle. But this one is much larger, big covered carriage. It also looks quite ornate on the outside, despite its gray tone colors, dark colors, and still somewhat gothic impressions. It is still fine crafted and looks as though it was, out of some kind of fabled story. It has a large 6-horse team that pulls it with a driver and a sentry that sits in kind of the outside of the carriage on the driver's seat area, and there is a armed and mounted sentinel that's standing beside the carriage. The innkeeper says that we wouldn't want such an important distribution of goods to go without some sort of watch.
Oh, we got guards. That's beautiful. Good job throwing your money, boys.
What's in that, Emmy?
How'd the gambling
What?
go last night?
Did you
we
go
never really
gamble?
played through that.
Did you try to win your money back?
I mean, I'm assuming that I did.
Ooh, I would like to see you roll 2d6.
Yes, let's see it. This is the real thing.
All right, I'd like to see you roll 2d6 again.
Beat that.
How much money do you have?
75 gold.
Wow.
All right, I'd like to see you roll 2d6 one more time.
Win back all of our money.
You came away with none left.
That's not what Fancy tells the group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
so
he had to stash.
you did well last night, huh?
He had to
Tell us about
I
it.
had to stash the lion's share of it. But when we get back, drinks are on me.
I thought you were gonna cheat to win. I didn't see any cheating.
I didn't get a chance to cheat. All I got to do was roll 3 sets of dice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't even try. You didn't even try to cheat.
He didn't tell me the rules. He didn't know what was happening.
This is exactly how it played out. Fancy did not know the rules and played the game expecting to win and did not.
Yeah, this sounds like a Fancy thing to do.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So you get ready to go onto the actual carriage itself and begin the transport over. Right as you're kind of getting ready to go, the innkeeper kind of standing at the door to the carriage, wishing you farewell. He kind of leans into the carriage, and with everyone kind of up above, sitting in their seats. As a longtime friend of Corval and Ileana, I must tell you, you are quite too gullible. And he tosses a bag of 300 gold into the floor of the carriage, closes the door, and walks away.
Oh, that's great.
Wait, what?
Fancy tries to
They
just
can
take the
get
gold,
all.
and
Oh.
he's going to distribute it evenly between everyone. Everyone gets their fair 20 gold.
Okay.
Dagan and Weldon should
Hmm?
split that, I think.
No, I'm fine. I don't need any money.
I'm not too picky about it. However you want. However, whatever fancy grabs me, I'll take.
In the realm of all of your currencies, I'm still wealthy.
Okay.
Fancy's going to give everyone their equal share of 20 gold. Is that
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I'm going to tell Fancy to keep my share.
I would like
Oh,
to
that's-
see a. Okay, it was even still. I would still like to see a sleight of hand in the dice tower.
Okay. I don't know how to roll a skill in the dice tower.
Drag it over.
Yeah, so you can just pick up.
Here it comes.
Like
Here
what
it comes.
says +4 or anything like that.
Yeah, I found it. I found it. Did it put it in the chat anyway?
No. I mean the shadow of a die. But not an actual die.
We don't see the roll.
We don't see the roll, just
Well,
as
it
we
doesn't
saw
even
that
show
you
me the
rolled
roll.
something.
No, it
Funny.
won't show you either.
It does not show you the roll.
You have to trust the DM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would never cheat my group mates. I mean, it was so nice of him
Just
to
a dude
give
that
us
just made the roll.
100. It was so nice of him to give us 120 gold.
120.
Yeah, it's 20 for each of us.
Oh, you're counting yourself in that too. So you get 2
Yeah.
shares.
But
The
But
rest
why-
of it and 20.
but I don't need gold. I didn't spend any.
I'm just adding 20 gold to mine.
Emmy's going
Isn't
through the entire scenario going, oh, this shit is free. This is great.
Yeah, so
She's
that
very
Brad.
confused.
Is the 271 in the party sheet? Was that already in there?
Yeah, I haven't touched anything with the party sheet. That's just been sitting there
Oh, okay.
since the last time we did something. But yeah, there's the that's known money. All you know is there's a sack of gold that was just tossed in the floor.
No, everybody take your 20, and Weldon said he didn't want his, so I kept his. So and Emmy didn't want hers, so I kept hers.
Hold up. I just don't know why I'm getting it.
Oh, okay. I mean, the innkeeper just gave us 120 gold to split between us, so I just split it. That's all.
It's odd people.
Did you add your 20 gold, Riff?
I did add mine 20.
I added mine.
Uh-oh.
I know you. I've known you for a long time. Let me count the bag.
You're gonna wait. I've already given it out. You never even saw the other coins disappear.
You saw him give 20 gold, 20 gold, 20 gold to 5 different people, well, including himself, and then he hands over the bag and it's empty.
I
I'm
mean,
not buying it, but
I'm gonna go ahead and distribute this. This is a separate thing. That's just gold that's been sitting in the party thing that needed to be distributed a long time ago. Yep, and then everybody gets their plus 20 or the gold there, and then and we sally forth.
yeah, and you'll get to hear the tales of how Fancy really,
One at
really.
gambling?
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Well played. Well played, Fancy.
I know. It's a good thing I'm on board with you guys.
More than doubled his money while he was there.
What a good gambler.
And then the carriage takes off, and it heads off to the east. Throughout the city, it takes several of the main roads that climb up. The right off the harbor, the city itself kind of rises up on a hill, and it kind of leads up and over the hill into. Even though, despite the gray mists that are ever present, even here in the dawn hours, there's still a vibrancy to the city and all the lights. And as soon as you come up and over the hill and start moving down the other side, the trees look quite barren. Not quite lifeless, but definitely not like a lot of green vegetation or leaves coming off them. Most of them look like no more than like accumulations of thorns and just branches that kind of while off in all the kinds of directions. Way more so than even regular trees, is they're more like the shrub itself is of the trees are actual branches because they don't make leaves very often. There's a little bit of green buds that kind of sit there, but there's not a lot of light, and so it's very strange that if they're, next to no light, how trees could get enough light at all to grow in this kind of area, but they do. All the wood is darkened in color, very much like the surrounding area. Everything has a gray tone to it. The landscape, the dirt, the trees. And then the main cobblestone road goes on for a few miles, well outside of the city and up over the hill and beyond. And then the cobblestone road kind of parts off into things that go to other maybe prominent cities, and then the path that the driver takes a little more directly east goes from cobblestone to like a dirt / gravel kind of more worn pathway as you continue forward. And it's eerily quiet. There's not a lot of like birds chirping and some of the things that you would normally hear as you would travel across some wilderness-like areas. There is life. It's not like a swampy, desolate wasteland or anything like that. There is life, but it's just different kinds of life than you had seen in the past. From time to time, you see things that just briefly catch your attention, and you turn to look, and then nothing is there. And this happens quite often as you begin traveling to the east.
Repeat that last part. So happening quite often to the east.
As you continue to travel to the east, like there are things that like catch your something in your peripherals that catch your eye, whether it's movement or whether it's just something there that looks out of the land, different from the landscape, and then when you go to turn to look, there's nothing ever there. And it tends to happen regularly.
I lean over to Val. It's like, you seeing the shadows? So maybe do a perception to try to. I'm assuming like I'm just seeing out of the corner of my eye. I'm gonna try to like actively look at one, look for see what anything I guess. Oof.
You've seen nothing.
I just say to the group, I thought I saw something. I don't know.
Well, when you see something, let us know.
Fancy has been busy on the trip, not really paying attention to much, but he's been trying to pin the words to some new song, something about ghosts.
I wanna like focus on the nature, like the what type of plants that we're passing, like what's actually in like growing here, if anything.
He talked to a little bit about it already.
Yeah, she wants to see.
I know. I want to like.
Druid them.
Yes.
Okay.
Flower power.
Get more of an affinity for them.
Oh, I see.
So, is it photosynthesis plus shadow synthesis, or is it only shadow synthesis? Is it a mixture? Okay, and shadow. Okay. Interesting. Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Brad, the tailored clothes that we got, we can wear that like with our armor or whatever, or what? Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Suit up, boys.
Along the hard ingrained paths, alternating from time to time, is something very similar to the lamplights that were all over the city, but it's just every great once in a while there's a lamplight, and even we're talking now, we are miles outside of the city, and so it's not like someone's coming by and putting a new candle in or new oil or whatever to keep these.
Asked Val. It's like your home. Is it similar to this place?
Oh,
Yeah.
oops.
He may have had to deal with some work thing or something too. I don't know. Well, just put a pin in it.
The one mounted guard, you can see him kind of ride forward a little bit, ride backward. He'll ride off the trail out into the woods a little bit from time to time, and then come back alongside the carriage. And each time he reports to those up on the front, and it seems to be all somewhat positive reports each time.
Drad. How does Fancy consider his chances against, like, if he were to fight that guard? How does he consider him?
Ooh. I'd like you to do both an insight and a perception.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right. Insight coming at you. Perception.
Like, just looking at the guard, this is no slouch. No random, like, personally pulled out of the bar and put a cap on and said, "Hey, you're the guard now."
Okay.
This looks like to be some sort of well-trained, honed scout soldier from some, like, we're not talking about like special forces necessarily, but someone that knows how to carry themselves. You can tell by the way they ride. You can tell by the way what they're looking for and what they're looking at when they're moving along. They're not being lackadaisical or lazy. They're very observant, and they have a certain grace to their movements. While Fancy is confident that he could take anyone in a fight, he's glad that this one is on your side.
Good. Okay, thank you.
They're in like a light elven chainmail. And they have a lot of kind of hidden weapons on them. You can see at least 4 short sword to long swords somewhere, a large crossbow, a bunch of daggers and knives, and then a big heavy mace. All kind of either on their person or strapped to their saddle right there. By the way they move, it looks as though they know how to use them. They don't carry them for no reason.
Okay, thank you.
Make it to, all throughout the day. You continue traveling eastward, and when what you think should be nightfall starts getting close, the wagon pulls over into kind of like a small clearing just off the road, and then the 2 guards go to the back and they pull off all these basically kind of like makeshift lamp posts, that are just like these big rods, and they just stick the rods in the ground or in a circle around the clearing, and then they light them somehow. It doesn't look like they're using like flint and steel or something like that, but they do something, and then they all kind of light up after they get them planted in the ground. And then they say that they start making a large fire in the middle and start making camp for the evening.
Fancy sets out to be looking for good things to eat, around the campsite. Anybody that's cooking something, you know.
They pull a big chest off the back of the carriage itself, open it up, and then there's some plateware, as well as some different foods and things in this giant chest. The guards do say that they would advise you not to leave the perimeter of the lights. It's unlikely that anything bad would happen, but I wouldn't advise it.
Understood.
Yep.
I will, at some point, before we do our watches and bed down, I'm gonna practice my loot from what Fancy's been showing me. I think last time I rolled on a chord to see how well I did. I think I'm just gonna say it was an E. So I'm gonna see if I've learned the A chord yet. I'm just strumming it real quietly. Let me do a performance.
Performance.
Oh,
Still need work on it. Or just like it might be out of tune or something. I don't know.
I think knowing whether it's in tune or not should have been the first thing you learned.
I mean, Fancy's been teaching me. I mean,
no. It's supposed to go like this.
Oh,
It's just still better. Come on.
Oh, I see what you did there. I can't get that one finger around just right.
It's that picture where they're like
All about
jazz
the
chords where they have the
fingers.
fingers going
Oh,
through the neck.
progressive rock.
Just easy. Yeah.
Don't make me whip out the bagpipes.
I can play the lute quietly. I don't know if you can play the bagpipes quietly.
No. There's no such thing as quiet.
You don't put air in them. You just,
No.
fake squeeze.
Nope.
You can't. Anyway, the
Fake.
so you do settle in, get ready to do your rotations and come about. The night passes without any incident, and then in the morning, the guards who took a kind of like a two shift, one stayed up half the night, then the other stayed up the other half, and then the driver slept this whole night. They all start gathering up the lanterns and putting them away, the chests, that sort of thing, and say, "We're ready to leave when you are."
Yeah.
I think we're all ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
I want to check around our campsite and also just kind of inspect my stuff.
Make sure nothing fancy has gone missing.
Okay, yeah. The inspection of your things goes as planned. What are you looking at about the campsite? What do you mean when you say look about the campsite?
I'm investigating whether there'd been any other obstructions around the camp night, like additional footsteps. Like, why are there 3 sets of footprints around the camp so they shouldn't be here? That kind of shit.
So
'Cause
as
if
you
we
kind
were
of look
asleep,
about
then
the inside the campsite, things look fairly pristine. They look exactly like you expect them to. Things are accounted for properly. As you start looking around the perimeter, you do notice some scrapes in the grounds, some just beyond the perimeter of where the lights were.
I'll mention to the driver and the guards. I'll relay that information to them. You might want to watch out. Seem to be creatures lurking around in the night, hiding in the dark.
I feel like they're not going to be surprised by that.
I think the next night we'll help take up watch shifts with you and the guards to have additional eyes,
Very wise.
just in case.
It is probably
And
not
I think
best to
if we
assume
can,
that the wilderness is safe.
and as we ride today, I'll try to come up with a way to increase the amount of light we can shed if they are hiding in the dark.
Oh, tinker up a light solution.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, very good. So they all load everything up and then get ready to then move out again on yet another day, drab and dreary. Ever twilight. You don't realize how much you rely on the sun for things. It has a direct relationship sometimes to mood, but also indication of when to sleep and when to eat, and even though subtle or sometimes indirect, it is always like played a role, something you never really paid any attention to in the past. Of oh, it's noon, it's lunchtime or whatever. Like that something that is still connected. But even now, being in this the city for a day nearly, and then being out in the wilderness for a day, starting to realize how much that you may have taken for granted.
Weldon, did you ever serve in the military? Or you
Nope.
always been freelance?
No military for Weldon. Weldon's only been an adventurer
Were
and a
you
tinkerer.
were you taught some of these skills, or did you learn after you set out?
I've got my master's journal. I take what he is given and then learn from others as I go.
I would have guessed you've had some military. I think you make a very good soldier.
Oh no. Oh no. I'll do as I want to when I want.
Hold on, I'm testing.
I don't know what fancy
Hopefully
stuff.
not Weldon's patience.
Yeah, it's slash W.
All right, as we begin traveling this day, well, then go ahead and roll me both a artificing int and artificing dex check. I made them for you in your
Oh, okay.
skill tree.
And I have a +1 because of a 2.
Oh, yes, on top of that, yeah.
I specialize with fire and things that are bright.
Things that have the potential to burn.
Yes. The, I would say that you are quite successful at coming up with some way in which to augment either the lanterns or something of some other construction of your own making. So, describe what you're trying to accomplish on helping with the light and what your artificing device may do. What does it do?
Well, um, while I adjust the, essentially make makeshift shutters for the light, or what you call hoods, and there are more focuses of the light, so they narrow the beams to make them go further, and also focus them more on, um, like the edges of the camps, like halogen bulbs, kind of. So instead of a fully open light, it's essentially their hoods with slits in them. And I polish the inside a little bit to make them mirrored. Like these are lanterns, right?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. So if they're
they
light, then the
mimic
polishing.
lanterns anyway.
Okay. Okay. Emit light, polishing panes will increase.
Okay. Let's see how lucky you continue to be. Again, you traverse the day without incident, without any, I guess, specific dangerous incident anyway. On this day, though, you do notice sometimes that whole peripheral thing, when you turn, you can see the outline of some things that kind of dissolves away.
Yeah, I saw it again. Anyone else?
I haven't seen anything, but I'll start keeping my eyes out.
I want to start paying attention. But not like looking directly out. I want to look just, forward and see if I can see my peripheral because I was fidgeting before.
Yeah, roll some perception checks in the later part of the day to see if we can, now that Dagon's kind of pointed it out, see what we can see.
Got this, guys.
That's good because I'm still.
I'm on it today, guys. Don't worry about it.
So if you don't look directly at them, they are.
You'll see sometimes a bit of movement. Sometimes you just see something that has like a pattern or color or something that just kind of stands out from the background of the regular wilderness. And Emmy, like you're trying to do your tricks. It's like looking at one of those 3D eye vision things. You're like crossing your eyes and you look at you're trying to pull it away to see, aha, there it is. That sort of thing. As you're going by, the movement of you going forward makes it hard to see what it is that sometimes is out there. But using some eye focus tricks that aren't looking directly at them as you're moving by, but kind of looking forward, your peripheral can kind of track them a little bit longer, and then you slowly start to be able to get more of your regular vision and turning and just seeing a little bit more, and you'll see the occasional there's a couple of different sources, it looks like, of things that are doing whatever this is. um, Something more adept to a shadow, specter, shade, something you've fought shadows before. So you kind of see how they melt in and out. Sometimes those are, you'll see some shadow things that are off in the distance, far away from the road usually, and they tend to just kind of melt into being into the, as things move. They're just, you could see them just because of a small angle one way, but then a half a breadth later you've moved, like the carriage is continuing forward, so you can't see them anymore, and so you can kind of recognize that that's happening. But then there's also things that are a lot more, they look a lot like the mist, they fade in kind of into the fore or background of the mist, but maybe they are more on the specter side of things, that they seem to be there and then fade away when you look at them. So rather than just being tricks of the light, not being able to see the shadows, these are like there that, like, somehow when they're looked at, decide to fade away almost.
Can I tell what they are?
Your best guess is the shadows are some sort of actual, maybe shadow creature, shadow energy shadow something that's very similar to things you've encountered before in your fights, with that maybe some natural elements of the Shadowfell. The others are perhaps apparitions of some sort.
I would tell you guys all that I saw. There are these shadow things, and maybe they're friends that are not completely there.
Could these be the spirits that are moving in and out? I mean, the souls, I guess.
Could be. I don't think I've seen anything like it, so I can't tell you exactly what it is.
So they're beings which fade in and out of perception.
That sounds about right.
That we can't directly look upon.
I'm not a religious rabbit, so I'm not rolling religion.
I'm a religious rabbit.
Good roll, sir.
Your knowledge of the arcane does not lend itself to. There are many things that have magical powers and blurring effects and things like that, but it just doesn't seem like any of those things. From
so.
a religious perspective, there is the dead and dying of there's a lot of, based on the description and kind of like the effect that you're witnessed yourself, something about maybe souls not having passed on. The whole idea of ghosts or wraiths or specters seems very tangible.
I would like to go ahead and cast a divine sense, and allow me to sense celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of us.
Is it a snapshot or does it stay there for a time? Is it like detect undead, like a concentration kind of thing, or does it like send out a pulse?
I'm reading because it's not saying.
Does it say detect all undead within 60 feet of like using this ability kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah, it does that, but it's just I can.
I
Doesn't
think
say how
you
long it
sense
lasts.
undead. Yeah.
Let me look it up on D&D Beyond.
Until the end of your next turn.
Also, I guess 6 seconds or 12-ish. However you want to interpret that.
But there is a time piece to it. Okay, for some amount of time, you're sending out this constant ping for a small bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Roll me a D100.
How do I do D100 again? I hit the 10 and I do a.
Well, it's the one that's got the double zeros.
Sorry.
You get it is a very strange occurrence to you. Like, you had used the divine sense when you were around the shadows, when you were fighting the radiant clips mob, like in that area. You had used it before, and particularly in their barracks area, when it had, like, the stone itself had kind of started to change to this Shadowfell energy, and was starting to change colors. That the very essence of the walls seemed as though it had some element of undeath to it. And you immediately, upon pulsing out the divine sense, feel that the landscape itself, mildly, entirely steeped in this undeath energy. Not a necessarily a here is an undead being right here kind of thing, but a or even evil for that matter, but just an element of the afterlife seeping through into this plane.
Yeah, I guess if you're noticing, you may see my eyes light up briefly, and then I look almost as if maybe I feel bad at my stomach. This was probably a little bit of overwhelming sensation. I wasn't expecting that, I guess.
Surprise!
The day continues, and the guard goes off, comes back. He doesn't seem to be particularly alarmed, but you can see that he is a lot, especially towards the end of the day, becoming a lot more cautious, I guess is the best way to put it. He's a lot more cautious. He's making trips out into the woods way more often than he was on that first day's journey, or even this morning. But again, the carriage comes to a large clearing, pulls over, and readies to camp for the evening.
I'll ask one of the guards, what are these things that we can't really look at directly, but we can sense that they're there?
The restless dead are riled up as of late. This whole land is steeped in their energies, and they are known to hang on longer than anywhere else in this particular world. But they usually do move on. As of late, they seem to be lingering. They seem to be, some of them, stuck. They seem to be agitated, drawn to the living.
Interesting.
It's a ghost-powered gate.
Yeah, it makes me feel weird saying it, but I agree with Fancy completely. I smile at Fancy when I say that.
It is noticeable that the occurrences of the visual occurrences are happening. What was often enough that you noticed them, now, like towards the end of that day, they were happening. Like sometimes as one would leave, the next one was already there. Sometime, and then some you would see a couple of them even maybe in the same periphery, where it might have been 30 minutes or an hour or longer before you saw one before on the previous day.
Yeah, maybe they're being drawn to this point by something that's going on.
Or being prevented from getting away, from
Mhm.
moving on. Yeah. Trapped.
They set up camp again for the evening, and then they employ Weldon's new artificing to the lamps, almost pointing like the, you know, like the work lights that have like the two lights on a stand that kind of point outward, that kind of like floodlight out. The lamps now have this, instead of putting a glow kind of down and around, and then they're just kind of hoping to overlap enough of the circles that, you know, both the inside and a little on the perimeter is covered in light. Now it's like the outside is flooded and the inside is a nice soft glow that wouldn't be like trying to sleep with floodlights in your eyes.
Oh no, everyone's sleeping with floodlights. All right, that's not. face in dirt.
I will take the first watch when we. And I'm assuming I did my divine sense was a few hours back, and now knowing kind of what to expect, I would like to do it again for just a moment to see if things feel more intense or the same.
The ground, the very earth around you, is more vibrant with that energy. But when you pulse that out, just after they have set up all the lights and are getting ready to make the camp, you could point. There is something undead there. There is something undead there. There's something undead there. Moving in the direction that you are heading.
Well, there you have it. Let us know.
I relay that to the group. Yeah,
So undead everywhere. Got it.
Seems to be a focal point too where we're going. So that's what we came for. I asked the guard. Well, I guess I asked their names. If we haven't already, so I'm digging.
Do you know anything about possession?
I know it's 9/10 of the law.
No, I'm talking to fucking Car's character. Could it be that
you were talking to the guards, because...
No, talking to the car.
Most of the evil I've dealt with has been very straightforward. I will have to roll to tell you what I know about possession, but I don't think I've really ever.
I thought maybe in your training or something.
Yeah, in training, I don't think I've ever seen anything in person. What would you like to know about possession? Because I believe I know a bit.
I was wondering. Do souls normally look for weak wills to possess to communicate? Maybe that is what we've seen in town was souls trying to communicate.
That's sort of what the story is, sort of what they said too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're agitated. They can't get to where they're going, so they communicate in whatever way they know how.
Maybe they're not curious about people. Maybe they're looking for the right people.
Right. A fool.
I thought you were about to speak in a possessed voice.
That would be awesome. Yep. Weak brain power right there.
Oh, you
They
the
got him.
Keymaster. I ask. I turn to. Would you say Severin's closest to me? So do you? What was the innkeeper's name? Out of character. We got that right.
I don't think we got that. I don't think we got the innkeeper's name. No,
You sure did not.
God bless
he was the innkeeper. Yeah, he's the dude we were just giving money to.
I know.
Yeah.
His name, but
we never asked.
The innkeeper who arranged.
He never offered for free.
Arranged you all. We are horrible with names. Do you have his name, Severin? Seraphis. Have you worked with him before or often?
most people have.
Secretly the king of the city. We just don't know it.
He's the
He's
dragon.
like, I'm gonna be an innkeeper today.
Pies that Seraphis has thumbs in.
Well, Seraphis did know some of our friends who brought us here, so.
Would it be that you were actually surprised that a potential council member of Rylokan Scholar at that would come at the beck and call of your average innkeeper?
We thought he might have just brought his cousin up to give us a good show. We were surprised, I suppose, that we did get the real deal. I would just ask that everything that we've talked about here and everything that we've seen, and I explain my divine sense and whatnot, that you report back to them just in case we don't make it back, which we're planning on making it back, but still, information
See
is
a big smile across his face.
we
We have no doubt in your ability to return. It's just a matter of what foolery you get yourself into.
oh, we're going to be getting into some foolery, I'm afraid.
Glances go in a direction.
You did choose a particularly strange place to go. So, our hopes are there, but we have concerns.
Well, unfortunately, I believe we are finding exactly what we intended to find, and well,
If you look about, if you've had any notice of the goings on, I don't want to be where you're going. And I wasn't paid to be.
wait, you're getting paid? I do. I suppose I share a little bit of drink with everyone. Still have some in the bag of holding. Like, yeah. Do I believe it was Seraphis mentioned that? Yeah. Do y'all have y'all taken other people out here or anywhere near this area?
Careful in his reasons for trusting or doing such things, but we have definitely heard that many have, upon themselves, gone this direction. It's been more outlanders of late than we can recall for some age. And I say outlander with broad meaning as he turns to look at Val.
So people like him have
Oh.
been. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I will take first watch with you. However, the rest of you all want to.
I am.
Val will.
Yeah, I'll take a watch. I also kind of forgot that I have a bonus to my passive perception.
I have not.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
When things are happening, if there's something of note, I will make sure to let you know, by and large. If something...
Not sure if that would have changed what I was able to see Fancy do with the gold.
Oh,
It did not. It did not.
Fancy is actually good at the stuff he does.
The horrible,
What is
horrible
that?
things he does.
He's like the drunken master, you know.
Ugh.
It's okay. Well, the a couple of times throughout the night, certain noises can be heard in the distance. The people on watch get a strange like chill from time to time. You get that the hair on the back of your neck starts to stand up, but everyone is vigilant and they get up and they look around and then they start inspecting and they're looking and with the aid of the lights casting light far out, nothing seems to be encroaching on the camp. The night passes without incident somehow. So everyone rouses again. The beginning of the third day, the guards tell you that they're only a few hours out. They expect to be there mid to late morning, at the point at which they will be dropping you off and returning home. So they load everybody
Alrighty.
up and they get ready to head on again.
All right.
So, important question: shadow boars. Is there shadow bacon? Is that a thing?
Shade bacon. Shade boars. Shade bacon.
Shade bacon. Hmm.
There is an eerie kind of setting around. There's been this kind of overcast, gray, misty cloud, like everything very difficult to see. That ever twilight kind of atmosphere that's been there this whole time. But today it's like almost not just like the misty twilight, but almost as though there's a large storm cloud over the head of everything. No rain. The weather's been reasonably nice, temperate. Um, the tiniest chill in the air, but nothing out of the ordinary. But the looming storm cloud, as you continue east, gets darker and darker. And after a couple of hours, mid to late morning, maybe 10 o'clock, something like that, the carriage pulls to a stop, and they say, "This is where we shall leave you. Just over the next little ridge is the beginning of the graveyard. From there, you must make your way to the mausoleum at its center, assuming you still wish to go."
We do what must be done.
You wouldn't happen to have a spare lantern to sell us, would you?
Make lanterns?
He modified the lanterns that
Oh,
they already had.
I see.
They
Yeah.
have some magicalness, something to them.
Kind of looks at the other guards. I think we could make do with one. Well, or without one.
The modifications should make that more viable.
And he hands over one of the lanterns, and I'll have to make the item for it.
Nice.
Which I will do later.
Also, that design isn't patented, so feel free to share that as you wish. For the safety of travelers. I won't charge you for the patent.
No, the innkeeper.
They just kind of look at you like,
everybody else.
whatever, dude.
I mean, I'm a tinkerer, all right. I gotta have my patents, all right.
Like, we
show 'em how I do
appreciate your contribution, just like you should appreciate our contribution. And you made it here alive.
That's what I appreciate.
And then that's an equal exchange in my book.
I mean, I modified the contribution, but yeah. I made their travels more profitable, all right, in the future.
They kind of leave you to it. And say, good luck.
Good luck to you.
Have a safe journey.
I hope that with whatever mission that you're on, it's got to be for a good reason. I hope it's worth it. And then they begin to ride away.
Fancy stretches himself a little bit and says, "That was a very restful ride. I'm surprised at how fast it went."
Good morning to you too.
Well, time to head over that knoll, right?
You disembark and head over that ridge that they had pointed out, just where the path continues on. And as you cross over that ridge, you're kind of met with quite a chilling sight. There's a vast, sprawling graveyard that you can just see crumbling tombs and graves that seem to stretch endlessly in all directions. At the center, way off in the distance, you see a colossal structure of blackened stone that looms ominously over all of the grave sites. Above graves and twisted, darkened trees float small, pale will-o'-wisps that flicker and dance about, some appearing and disappearing. They cause an eerie, ghastly light to emanate over the landscape.
Will-o'-wisp out in the day.
We did it. We have arrived.
I am concerned that if we have a lantern that will, like a large light, will be disrespectful to the will-o'-wisps. So,
What kind of music do you think Will-O-Wisps like? Oh,
it's not picking up.
Discord didn't like me whistling.
No.
What the? Why is that? That makes no sense. Okay, hold on.
Where?
The ocean swallows us all.
Go
supposed to
away,
be a
whatever,
splash?
whatever you are.
Traipsing through the waves of the graveyard.
I'm
Splash,
really
splash,
confused
splash.
now.
Yeah, we never made it our last campaign. Just
Like as your eyes adjust to the difference in light, as you can kind of see now that the dark swirling clouds overhead seem to center over this large colossal stone structure, as though that they are centered on and emanate from it. Under that ghastly glow of the will-o'-the-wisp light, you notice that there are in fact many spirits of the dead that do not rest, but instead wander aimlessly. Here, where the boundary between life and death is thin, the air is thick and heavy with the presence of lost souls. Their confusion and despair is palpable as the party moves deeper into the cemetery, or towards the cemetery. You see the spirits drifting in and out between the tombstones. And as you approach, the temperature drops markedly. Shadows cling unnaturally close. Even where the light is cast, it's as though the light recedes from the shadow's touch at its edges.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, we didn't get new outfits for nothing.
In the distance, faint whispers and distant cries echo through the air, barely audible but ever present. The dead are restless, their confusion and suffering tangible. The tension in the air grows with every step, as shadows twist unnaturally around the tombstones, creating constant unsettling sensation that the party is being watched.
Oh no! Stop watching me.
This is a place where life and death have lost their meaning, and the shadows hold dominion over both. And that's also where we're going to leave it.
Dang it!
Was
Stupid